Being the smallest candidate was not an enviable position. It was therefore imperative that Kevin impress a dragon in his first hatching. That would wipe the smile off of every face in the cavern, and accord him the respect due any dragon rider, even the smallest one.
Ah! Shells! The sands are hot!
Session time is imminent, candidates.
Everyone crowded respectfully close to him.
Of the striation on the promising egg.
The stretch marks were larger than yesterday. Everyone leaned forward and nodded thoughtfully. That particular egg was the one Betterly had marked as his own, and no other candidate dared, on pain of being beaten by Betterly, at first opportunity to approach it. The egg was marked by a large yellowish splotch in the shape of a dragon back winging to land, talons outstretched to grasp rock. Everyone knew that the bronze eggs bore distinctive markings, and naturally, Betterly, who'd been presented at 8 impressions already, was the biggest of the candidates.
Great opening day is upon us. There are 40 eggs and 72 candidates. Some of you may be disappointed on this great day, but that does not mean you aren't Dragon Rider material, just that your eggs have not been shelled yet. There will be other hatchings, and it's no disgrace to be left behind one or two or more.
Kevin was positive that the winged second eyes rested on Betterly, who had been stood off at so many impressions already. Kevin tried to squinch down so the winged second wouldn't notice him. Kevin had been reminded too often he was eligible to be a candidate by one day only. He, of all the hopefuls, was most likely to be left standing on the great day. One more reason why he simply had to impress at the first hatching.
About the eggs, touch them. We do not know what does any good, but it certainly will not do any harm.
Some of the boys laughed nervously, but everyone immediately began to circulate among the eggs. Betterly stepped up efficiently up to his egg, daring anyone to come near it. Kevin smiled because he had already touched it every inspection day. When others were leaving the hatching ground and no one could see him, he crouched to stroke it. Kevin had an egg he concentrated on too, one drawn slightly to the far side of the others. The shell had a soft greenish-blue tinge with a faint creamy swirl design. The conscience was that this egg contained a mere green, so Kevin was rarely bothered by rivals. He was somewhat perturbed than to see Betterly wandering over to him.
Your loudest impression, Kevin. There's enough of us without a babe.
I'm of age.
You can't even see over an egg. On hatching day, you should stand in the front so the dragon can see you. Of course, it'd be kind of hard because the dragon...
You better make sure a dragon sees you this time, Betterly. You're almost over age, aren't you? Why are you still...
Betterly flushed and took a step forward, hand half raised. Kevin stood his ground, but if Betterly advanced one more step, he would call the winged second. No one fought on the hatching ground. Surely Betterly knew that much. Fortunately, at that moment, the winged second called the boys together and led them from the hatching ground to start their evening chores. There were glows to be replenished in the main kitchen caverns and sleeping cubicles. The major hallways and the queen's apartment, firestone sacks had been filled against threat attack, and black rock brought to the kitchen hearths. The boys fell to their chores, tantalized by the orders of roasting meat. The population of the wearer began to assemble for the evening meal, and the dragon riders came forth from the feeding ground onto their sweep cheeks. Tempers were uncertain in the sleeping caverns next morning, as the boys were routed out of their beds to carry water and black rock and cover the glows. Twice men had to call Kevin to order for clumsiness. Kevin dutifully trundled to the barrow to the outdoor bunker for another load of black rock, just as Betterly arrived on a similar errand.
Heard the news, babe?
The eggs are cracking?
Nah, I guess again.
With a sinking heart, Kevin knew that what the news must be, and he could only stare with intense desolation at the older boy.
I have no time for guessing games.
I said guess.
No!
No, you're not supposed to say no.
I said I don't have time for guessing
I
games.
said for candidates around here, babe.
Someone sniggered as Kevin, incredulous, knew that he must have been dropped from candidacy. He yanked the shovel from Betterly's loosened grasp, snarling at the older boy, tried to regain possession, but Kevin clung with all his strength to the handle, dragged back and forth as the stronger boy jerked the shovel about. With a sudden, unexpected movement, Betterly rammed the handle into Kevin's chest, knocking him over the barrow handles. Kevin felt a sharp, painful jab behind his left ear and an unbearable pain in his left shin, and then Painless nothingness.
Shells! Ah, shells! The sands are hot!
Impression time is imminent, candidates.
Jackson!
Shells! Ah, the sands are...